Hi, class. Moving on to accessory digestive organs, we will start by talking about the liver. And I want you to know that liver produces bile, and this bile is then stored in the gallbladder, and bile helps in lipid metabolism. So, gallbladder does not produce bile, liver produces bile, but that bile is then stored into the gallbladder. Okay, so nutrients which are absorbed by the blood from the small intestine must reach the liver for detoxification before they are delivered to different body cells. Therefore, liver receives nutrient-rich blood for detoxification. Very important. Liver receives nutrient-rich blood for detoxification. So, how does this happen? Different veins from multiple organs like the pancreas, gallbladder, stomach, and omentum join to form a vein called hepatic portal vein. Students, I want you to remember that hepatic portal vein is not hepatic vein. They are different and their functions are different as well. Hepatic portal vein is a vein that carries nutrient-rich but oxygen-poor blood towards the liver. So I'm repeating, hepatic portal vein is formed by the union of different veins coming from the pancreas, gallbladder, stomach, and other areas. All these veins join to form the hepatic portal vein, which carries nutrient-rich but oxygen-poor blood towards the liver. Okay? So please do not get confused between hepatic portal vein and hepatic vein. Now, as the blood passes through the liver sinusoids and capillaries, the nutrients get absorbed by the liver cells called hepatocytes. So the blood, as it travels through the liver, loses nutrients, and now we are left with only deoxygenated blood or oxygen deficient blood. This deoxygenated blood then leaves the liver via hepatic vein. Again, hepatic vein carries deoxygenated blood out of the liver, and the hepatic vein ultimately joins the venous circulation. All right, again, if you have any question on this, feel free to email me. Moving on. This chart is showing us functions of the liver, and in no way I want my students to memorize the functions. Just know the basic functions like detoxification, carbohydrate, lipid, and protein metabolism, and bile secretion. These are the most important functions of the liver. That's all I want you to remember. All right. Moving on to to another very important accessory digestive organ called the gallbladder. So gallbladder is a teeny tiny sac that is attached to the inferior surface of the liver. Gallbladder, again, it does not produce bile, but it stores the bile that is produced by the liver. So let's focus on this picture here. On the top, we see these two tube-like structures, or these two ducts. These are called hepatic ducts. They come from different lobes of the liver. The hepatic ducts then join to form this duct called the cystic duct. Sorry, my bad. So we have the hepatic ducts here. The hepatic ducts join to form common hepatic duct. The common hepatic duct fuses with the duct coming out of the gallbladder called cystic duct. And fusion of cystic duct and common hepatic duct forms this long duct called common bile duct. The common bile duct dumps bile into the duodenum via this opening called major duodenal papilla. Don't worry about that term. All right. And then if there is no chyme in the duodenum, there is an ampulla called there's a sphincter muscle called sphincter of ampulla that closes, preventing the bile to be dumped into the duodenum. So to review, these two ducts on top in green, these are called hepatic ducts. They fuse to form common hepatic duct. The common hepatic duct joins with the duct coming out of the gallbladder called cystic duct, and the cystic duct and the common hepatic duct joins to form this long common bile duct. Bile from the gallbladder comes via the common bile duct and gets dumped into the duodenum, which helps in fat digestion and digestion of other organic materials. All right. Moving on to the pancreas. A very interesting organ. Pancreas is called a mixed gland. It's a mixed gland because it has both endocrine and exocrine functions. Endocrine functions are associated with hormone production, and exocrine functions are associated with pancreatic juice production. So within the pancreas, if you look at the bottom left picture, you will see that there are special areas called pancreatic islets. Now these islets have endocrine functions, and they are associated with production and secretion of hormones called insulin and glucagon. Both of these hormones facilitate glucose metabolism, to be continued in the next chapter. All right. The exocrine functions are associated with production and secretion of pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice is produced by the acinar cells, and if you again look at the diagram, and the acinar cells are darker in color, and then there is on the right hand side there is a zoomed in picture showing acinar cells. So the acinar cells, they produce pancreatic juice, and the pancreatic juice then travels via the main pancreatic duct, which is shown in the picture here. And the main pancreatic duct carries the pancreatic juice to be delivered to the duodenum of the small intestine. I want you to know that the pancreatic juice contains a mixture of about 20 enzymes and a lot of bicarbonate. Now, the enzymes that are produced by the acinar cells are mostly in their inactive state. And once these enzymes reach the duodenum, then these enzymes get activated and eventually they help in digestion of food. So again, the acinar cells produce enzymes in inactive form which travel via the pancreatic duct to the duodenum, and in the duodenum these inactive pancreatic juices or pancreatic enzymes get activated to help in digestion. So again, the pancreatic juice is made up of a lot of bicarbonate and about 20 different digestive enzymes. The chart is showing us a lot of enzymes, their zymogen form, what activates the enzymes, and the function of each enzyme. I do not expect my students to memorize all these, but I want you to understand something. So the enzyme trypsin, which helps in protein digestion, This actually is released from the acinar cells in inactive form called trypsinogen. So trypsinogen is the inactive form that needs to be activated to trypsin, and that is done by the activator enterokinase. Therefore, if I ask you on your exam which enzyme helps trypsinogen to be activated to trypsin, I want you to say it's enterokinase. Now, once the trypsin is activated, as you can see, trypsin then acts as an activator of multiple other enzymes like chymotrypsin, elastase, carboxypeptidase, phospholipase. I don't want you to remember all these. Just know that trypsinogen is activated to trypsin by enterokinase, and once the trypsin is activated, it in turn activates a bunch of other enzymes. Okay? All right, good. Moving on to phases of gastric digestion. Moving on to phases of gastric secretion, there are three main phases. The first one is cephalic, followed by gastric phase, and then intestinal phase. The most important thing I want you to remember here is that cephalic phase and gastric phase, they actually stimulate gastric secretion and stimulate HCl secretion, and intestinal phase inhibits acid secretion. All right, so actually I'll stop here, and then in another video I will continue with phases of gastric secretion because it takes time. This slide will take time and I can only do 15 minutes video. So I have to stop here now and make another video. Hope that is okay with you guys. All right.